Esperanza TV presents Taste and See. The story for today: I will never leave God.
My name is Mary Moreno, and I have lived in Tualatin, Oregon for 35 years. I came here by myself. I was the first person in my family to come here alone. And that's when my family started asking me, how do we get over there? Over time, I brought my family here and I got to know the Adventist church. At first, I wasn't very interested, but my sister Natividad kept talking to me about the church.
Yes, ever since we were little girls, we've always been very close, and I've always tried to look after her and keep us together. When you have a blessing, what do? You share it with your loved ones. And I shared this gift from heaven with her.
20 years ago, I joined her in a house cleaning business, and she never stopped talking to me about God. Sometimes I would go to church, but I still hadn't made the decision to get baptized. I was working with her, and she was always talking to me about church, always talking to me, let's go, always talking to me. When she brought up the topic of me getting baptized, would say, well, I don't know. But when she explained to me that trials would come, I told her, no, I don't want that.
And she would say to me, that's why I don't want to get baptized, because you tell me that trials are going to come and I won't be able to handle it. I told her, but the Bible says that God will help you, and He will help you. And I started talking to her.
Even though I worked a lot, the money was never enough for me. And every month I ended up borrowing money from my sister to pay the rent. All the time I had to ask her. And she would say, the rent again? Yes, it's just that I don't have enough. And she would always lend me money for the rent. One day, she told me to test God by returning the tithe and that God would bless me. She said, sis, I love you a lot, but you can't keep going like this. And I told her, but it's just that I don't have enough. And she said, give the tithe, make a deal with God.
So I shared my testimony with her about tithes and offerings. Then she was truly able to clearly see how the Lord was graciously opening a wonderful path of blessing for her. And she then said, I also want that blessing too.
I started tithing and also giving offerings, and it was amazing to see how the money started to be enough. And to this day, I keep doing it faithfully. God started providing for my rent. I stopped having to borrow money, and she started to explain the offering to me as well. So I said, all right, made another deal with God, and started giving offerings. It was something very small, but I started giving it. My heart began to lean toward making a decision with God, but then some really big trials came. Right in the middle of the pandemic, my youngest son got seriously ill with COVID. I suffered so much and begged God to save him from death. When we got to the hospital, they called him in, checked him, took his temperature, and immediately took him away. They told me I couldn't go in anymore. And that afternoon, it was a Sunday, when I was outside in the parking lot, I just couldn't take it anymore, and I said, God, I give you my son's life, but I promise you that if you get him through this, I will get baptized. And God heard my prayer. A few days later, the hospital called me to say he was being discharged, and it truly was a miracle. On Monday night, he called me and said, Mom, I'm doing really well. I'm coming home tomorrow. When he had been hooked up to all those machines. And I gave, and I thanked God so much, so much. I'm sure that God heard my prayer. After those experiences, I never doubted again. I got baptized, and since then I've stayed faithful to God. On March 21st, 2021, I was baptized. And thanks to God, I truly started a profound and meaningful personal relationship with Him deeply. Offerings and tithing are truly something that I absolutely couldn't live without in my daily life. And I thank God so much for the job He has given me. I no longer have to borrow money from my sister to pay the rent. And I am very grateful, very happy at church. I'm happy because God has blessed me greatly. Even though I'm still truly going through trials, today I can say that even if everyone lets me down, I will never, ever leave my precious Lord.
Taste and see.
Now let us prepare to be faithful to God with our tithe and offerings.